We're going to talk about all the major injectables out there, even some ones that we talked about yesterday, silicone, but more focused on exactly what problems can occur in inexperienced hands and how to fix that. The first one I think most of you use are the hyaluronic acids, and we're going to talk about how to avoid complications. As you heard yesterday, the allergic reaction has gone down a lot since they purified some of the antigens in the late 90s, and the great thing about it is that you can actually reverse all of this with hyaluronidase. I'm going to tell you how to do that. I use really blunt cannulas now for the entire face with Tulip. I call it the laminator, but actually I don't make any money off them. I refused any honoraria from them as well. My practice is converted entirely to a hyaluronic acid-based practice. I've moved from using all different types of products just down to this. Just so much easier. Also, because I run a practice that's primarily fat grafting, I'm able to convert over to fat grafting easy by dissolving this. So people always talk about dissolving it, but how much do you put in? And I want to just make a practical guide for you guys based on my experience. You want to be careful. You can put a little bit of Vitrace in, the whole hyaluronic acid just goes away. So what I found out is, this is, again, these are what I've done. I don't want to give you the wrong numbers, but this is what I've been doing, and I found if you need a small correction, very, very little. 0.05 is about, 0.01 is probably too small, about 0.05, and occasionally 0.1. And if you just want the whole thing to go away, I put in like 0.4, 0.5 of the Vitrace, and that works really well. Always start small and go up. That's my feeling. And I have never had to nick the skin. I just like dissolving it. But if it's really close to the skin, theoretically, you can just nick it, let it extravasate. Calcium hydroxyapatite, I think, is a great product, but there are a lot of things with it that you have to be careful with. What I found in particular, we saw some advanced techniques of nasojugal groove in injections. I, and also talking to some of my colleagues across the United States, have had issues with prolonged and idiopathic erythema in the area around the tear trough. So be very careful if you're an inexperienced injector. I don't know what causes that. I don't put anything near the eyes with Radius. When I did it in combination with Restylane around the eyes, and I did Radius into the cheeks and jawline. Just don't do it in the lips. If you're getting great success, I'm not here to tell you otherwise. There's many ways to skin a cat, but in my opinion, I wouldn't do it. The labial-mandibular fold is an area that's a bit tricky as well. I've had one patient where I had a hand piecemeal remove the product, and the reason for that is just there's a very small distance between the mucosa and the skin. When you're injecting into the labial-mandibular fold, my suggestion is at the end of it, no matter what product you use, just take one finger and feel in there. Make sure there isn't a lump. If there's a lump, you want to just gently massage with one finger, not two, because you're going to squeeze it out of the area, and that usually just one little push will get it right into position. I like cheek injections with Radius, but I had some problems early on. What I do to avoid this is an intraoral technique. I'm going to show you that in just a second here. And the nasolabial fold is nice. Obviously, if you've got that kind of stiletto nasolabial fold, it's going to be harder to fill. Sometimes you sit there and you put 2 or 3 vials and you get no change. So obviously you want to make sure that you pre-select your